Hi everyone, it is Fitz with your daily delivery. Hope you're doing well. I am quite good. College football is nearing, and a good sign of that is the AP poll is out. We got the coaches poll last week, AP poll this week. You know those polls that set in stone how good teams are. And then, if you're Texas and you're number one, you could probably lose 3 games and still be ranked because you're Texas. And they haven't played a game and they're already the best team in the country. I'm not really a big fan of preseason polls because it does tend to set a tone that may not be accurate. Let's talk about the Big 12 right after I ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Kind of stalled out because I've stopped mentioning it, but go ahead and subscribe if you're not. It really does help us. And we're sponsored by coldest.com, coldest.com. Life of Fitz, the code gets you 10% off. So there are a lot of teams in the coaches poll for the Big 12. Not as many in the AP, but here's what's going on. In the top 28, well, let's say 30 to make it, less arbitrary. The top 30, the Big 12 has 7 schools, basically half the conference. That's pretty impressive. If my counting's right, the SEC was at 8, the Big 10 was at 7, and the ACC was at 3. And there is a chunk of teams again. We saw 3 in a row in the coaches poll. We got 3 in a row here just outside of the poll. But you want to know the important stuff. Arizona State's 11 in both. The top-ranked Big 12 team, Sun Devils, are going to be good again. Kansas State came in on the AP poll at 17. They're 20 in the coaches. So strangely enough, the sports writers think more of them. And then you see this strange drop-off of Big 12 teams. There's only 4 up there in the main rankings. Tech and Iowa State are also there. And then you get to the outside of the top 25. 26, 27, and 28 are all Big 12 teams. BYU is in the coaches poll, but not in the AP poll. They're number 26. I think this is an indication that the voters recognize the competitive nature of the Big 12, and they don't really know what to do with that, unlike the SEC. Oklahoma is right behind K-State in the AP poll at 18. Does anyone believe Oklahoma is going to be in the top 20 by the season's end? No, and it's not just because the SEC is good. Every conference has their own competitive nature. Big 12 is the most obvious. But does that mean it's not a good conference? If you've got 7 teams that can be in the top 28, there's no way you can turn around and say that Big 12 isn't a good conference. It makes no sense. And honestly, we see some teams from both the Big 10 and SEC. If you would just plop them over here and put them in the Big 12, they wouldn't be ranked where they're ranked. Yeah, I said it. If Illinois wasn't in the Big 10, and maybe they are the, 13th or whatever they are, I don't know. Maybe they are. But I bet you if they're in the Big 12, they aren't. They're probably down around, 20. Because the only team worthy of being up in that upper echelon, near the top 10, is the defending champion. So they've proven it. And what they did against Texas is a perfect example of being rewarded. Because in reality, that game was a draw. Texas was fortunate to get out of that with a win in a playoff. It wasn't a meaningless early season game. This was fighting for your survival. So Arizona State has the benefit of that head-to-head. Here's what the Big 12 really needs this season. They need a lot of competitive games, a lot of fun games. They need to get that brand out there. But they also need 3, 2, maybe 4 schools to break away from everyone else, to start building that resume. And then you not only are narrowed in on some really good teams, some of your better teams, but you have some quality victories you can get without them being playoff teams. I think the Big 12 is going to get 2 in this year. They deserved it last year, and I can't explain what the committee did. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the second team will be the loser of the Big 12 title game. That's how the Big 12 works. Everything's grouped together. So K-State comes in at 17. The Big 12 gets some degree of respect. But then again, if the same teams were not in the Big 12 and in the SEC or Big 10, well, Arizona State would probably be somewhere around number 6.